Everyone wants to be stronger, not just physically, but in every part of life. But between confusing workout advice, complicated equipment, and trying to figure out nutrition, where does anyone even start? Well, to get stronger mentally and physically, go to Anytime Fitness. You'll get a personalized training, nutrition, and recovery plan, all customized to your body, your strength level, and your goals. You'll get expert coaching to optimize your results, anytime, anywhere, in the gym and on the Anytime Fitness app. And you'll get anytime access to 5,500 gyms worldwide, all with the right equipment to level up your strength gains and your life. So get started at AnytimeFitness.com. That's AnytimeFitness.com.
Either everyone's a stupid idiot or they let this happen. Sup nerds, it's basketball. Welcome to Horse, a basketball podcast about everything except for the wins and losses. My name is Mike Schubert, and I'm joined by my trusted co-host, the Warriors not wanting Jonathan Kuminga to Jonathan Kuminga not wanting to be on the Warriors, yet them staying together. It's Adam MamaWAWA. Adam, how's it going?
I don't know a lot about this. It sounds fairly dysfunctional and perhaps codependent.
It's an absolute mess. It's restricted free agency, which is messy, and it's restricted free agency, which can get messy, and this time it has become especially messy. It's just this weird situation where, like, it's weirdly in both the interest of the team and the player to work out a contract of some sort, but when the team doesn't believe as much in the player as the player believes in himself, you get weird situations, and right now you're looking at Jonathan Kuminga signing the qualifying offer, which basically means he takes a lot less money this year, but then is immediately free from the Warriors starting next year. We had someone already in the NBA do this, Cam Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets. Similarly, he thought he was worth more than what he was getting contract offers for. So, yeah, the Kuminga thing is just, it's been a strange relationship on and off, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because I don't think he's long for the Warriors. Yeah. And if he goes and plays for another team, either he will not be good and the Warriors will be vindicated, or he will be great and he will be vindicated and the Warriors will look silly for not fully trusting him. But it's a dramatic situation for sure. And that's why we're talking about it on Horse, a basketball podcast. Hey.
Exactly. And while we don't know which locker room Jonathan Kuminga will be in maybe 2 years from now, we do know that the Teal Memorial locker room will be alive and well and thriving, and the vibes will be immaculate as usual.
Always vibe and always immaculate in terms of the vibes, always immaculate in terms of the cleanliness. And you know who else is immaculate in all facets?
I would say our patrons, and most notably our producer-level patrons.
Yes. Shout out to our producer-level patrons, Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed, Steph Curry's daughter, Riley, for 3.
Yes, to let everyone in behind the curtain, because I am running out of things to say about Steph Curry, and we did actually get a shout out. Like, I'm amazed that they keep coming up with different ones. But I did a little bit of Googling. That's usually how I come up with my Steph Curry thing. And there was an article from Yahoo claiming that 1-year-old Riley Curry, who's now, 15 or something like that,
of course,
was perhaps the deciding factor in Steph choosing to go with Under Armour. There was an anecdote that says...
Oh, okay. I was confused when you said the 1-year-old. So 1-year-old at the time.
Yes, 1-year-old at the time. That would have been too long to include, but this is what the article says. One day, while Steph and Aisha were at home, he put 3 shoe boxes containing shoes from the 3 brands on the coffee table, took out a shoe from each box and lined them up. One shoe was red, the second was orange, and the third was a black Under Armour Anatomic Spawn. He then asked his just over 1-year-old daughter, Riley, to pick what she liked. And then it says, she picked up the Nike shoe, she looks at it, turns it backwards, and throws it over her shoulder. She picks up the Adidas shoe, she looks at it, turns it over, throws it over her shoulder. She picks it up, she turns around, she goes, "Here, Daddy, this one." And so Riley Curry, holding the Under Armour shoe, allegedly helped Steph decide to sign with Under Armour. And as of actually this is a little while ago, but it says that Steph has like a lifetime deal with Under Armour where he's receiving $75 million in stock options as well as his annual payments. So thank you, Riley. And bang.
That feels like a big allegedly, but it's a cute story nonetheless.
Yeah.
Chase Underulo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby as a vampire, Chelsea's cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, Mats Furley, and Utah Jash. And you know who else is here to help intersection of money and good things?
I would say our sponsor, Tab for a Cause.
Correct. Tab for a Cause allows you to channel the energy that you create by surfing the internet. And instead of like a bad AI data center that destroys things, they take this energy and they make the world better by raising money for charity. You go to tabforacause.org/horse. You install it in your browser in a couple of clicks. And then boom, every time you open a tab, you get a pretty picture of a nice background. And then you might see some ads in the corner, but those ads raise some money for charity and you get to pick what charities are supported. Let's do a tab check. I've got 2 tabs open.
I've got about 20 something. That's just a quick eye test. I didn't count, but that's about where we're at.
Sure. So whether you are a tab keeper like Adam or a tab closer like me, I'm still opening them. I'm just closing them as well. Every time you open them, you can raise money for charity if you go to tabforacause.org/horse. Okay, and now, unless you're listening on Patreon, where you get access to episodes without inserted ads, it's time for inserted ads. And once those inserted ads are complete, we'll get back into this episode. But if you're listening on Patreon, we're just going to go right on through. Adam, what do you got going on?
All right, so there's a running theme where every episode I say, hey, I met some people who are horse listeners at my shows. I don't remember their names because I'm bad at that. But now I'm turning over a new leaf. I am meeting people and I'm writing down their names so I can give them the appropriate thank you. So to the people I met in Connecticut this past weekend, shout out to Madison, horse listener, who came on Friday, and to Kay, who came on Saturday. I got to meet both of them, take a picture. I believe they bought some merch. So thank you so much to Madison and Kay for coming out to these shows. Other stuff that I have coming up, well, I guess this will come out next week. So too late, you missed the show in Bethlehem, but it was great. And hopefully I already met some of you there. Other than that, I don't have a lot of solo touring stuff coming up until next year when I will be in Fort Collins and Denver. That is in January of next year. But I did get a confirmation that I will be out with Dane Cook doing some shows. So that will be October 2nd in Huntington at the Paramount, which is a big theater in Long Island. On Friday, October 3rd, I will be at the Borgata in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And then the weekend of, I believe it is the 16th through 18th, I will be with Dane at some venues in Florida. So Tampa, Orlando, and Hollywood, Florida is where I will be. I may be added to some other shows as well. And I believe I'm also going to be doing the one on December 13th in Las Vegas at the Palazzo, I believe. So some fun stuff coming up, getting to go out and do some big shows again. Always a good time. But yeah, that's what I got for the moment. And what about you?
Sounds very cool.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat where by the time people hear this, the show that we're about to leave for a flight tonight to go to Manchester. So the Manchester show will have concluded. And then similarly, the live stream replay of the live stream show that we did for TNO will have passed. So thank you to people who attended those in all their forms. There is one show that I've got on the docket that is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on September 28th, covering the Noose Olympian. That's going to be chapters 4 and 5 of The House of Hades, which is the 4th book in the sequel series. I'll be joined by Eric Hamilton Schneider. It will be very fun. And then I don't have anything booked for the rest of the year. There is a chance of me doing something in LA early in December, but that is just penciled. Similarly, penciling stuff in Australia, New Zealand in January and February, trying to do a trip then. And then one that is at least like marked, but where we don't have ticket sales yet, is in Washington, D.C. in March of next year. It's going to be, I think, like the 15th or something like that. Cool. So that's everything. Nothing super duper official besides that Pittsburgh show. But, you know, stick around and follow me on social media to be in the know for when things become official.
All right, very cool. Well, we do not have a NBA or WNBA Q&A today because we have too much to get to. There is so much spicy news that we simply cannot spend the time on a question. But as always, do send us your questions. The best way to get one read on the show is to reach out to us via Gmail at horsehoopspod@gmail.com. So,
or via Patreon, because we do give
that too.
To
yes, that is an even better way. But yes, one of those two ways is probably the most efficient way to get to us. But let's get into full court press. Do you get it like the news?
I do get it like the news. There's some news. Let's start with some positive news. There are some folks inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame this past year for the 2025 ceremony, which happened on September 6th. And then you also went to the Hall of Fame as well. So
yeah, I was there like a week later, and it's good timing because I don't think I would have been able to go if it had been Hall of Fame weekend, because I assume it is a madhouse. But yeah, I was doing some shows in Wethersfield, Connecticut, which is about half an hour from Springfield. So we had the day on Saturday, and my buddy Paul, who featured for me on the shows, we went over to the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's really pretty great. I mean, they always seem to have a lot of rotating stuff there, which is cool. Like, I don't want to say it was unrecognizable, but I hadn't been there in like 10 years, and so much of it is new. So much of it is like super up to date, even in terms of like the players they feature when they have the little things where people like imprint their hand on a ball, and you can see like, oh my God, Asia Wilson has very large hands. Wow, I'm intimidated by that. Or I even got to see how my arm span compares to Giannis's, and spoiler alert, it's not close. But a lot of really cool stuff there. And then they have a full-length basketball court, and I got some shots of. So perhaps that will be the post for this coming episode, is some of my hooping in Springfield, Mass., the home of basketball, as it were, because of James Naismith's connections there. But yeah, very cool stuff. And I guess, I don't know, before we get to the Kawhi stuff, because that has gotten very, very dramatic, the WNBA playoffs have begun. Your Seattle Storm are in it. Not looking good at the moment.
Legally, they are.
Yeah, I mean, the Aces have won, 17 games in a row? Like, they're super hot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, especially because we have their draft pick, and part of the calculus of a trade that we made during the season was we traded away our own first-round pick for the next draft, because we had the Sparks pick, we had the Aces pick, and our pick, but we were like, ours is going to be the best of the three, because the Aces were like 2 games under 500 when we traded it. And then we went on a big losing streak, and they went on this ridiculous winning streak. Like, they haven't lost since like the day after we made that trade or something. And they're now the second best team in the league by record, and they're on an unbelievable heater, and that heater is continuing. It stinks because the way that the playoff standings shook out, we got the 7 seed, and if we had gotten the 8 seed, we would have played the Lynx, who we have played very well all season. Even though they're the top seed, we have really just kind of had their number, and it's unfortunate because the Aces have had our number in recent playoffs, even though their team looks different. So yeah, we lost the first game by like 25 points, but hopefully we can battle back. But it was not a great start. So
yeah, so the matchups are the Lynx, who have been just a dominant team all season, the number 1 seed against the 8th seeded Golden State Valkyries, which is a very cool thing for the expansion team to actually make the playoffs. So pretty awesome stuff there. Then, as you alluded to, it is the 2nd seeded Las Vegas Aces versus the Seattle Storm. Then the 3-6 matchup is the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. Obviously, that's probably going to go to Atlanta, because the Fever largely got to this point based on players who are not able to play for them anymore because of injuries. And then I would say maybe the most interesting matchup is the 4-5 seed, which is the Phoenix Mercury versus the New York Liberty. What's interesting, though, is
intense first game.
Yeah,
like double overtime.
Went to overtime, or was it double overtime?
I thought it went to double. It was intense.
Either way, yeah. But the Liberty won that first game by 7 in some extra basketball there. But one thing, and I assume maybe you know the answer, but like maybe this will change as the league expands more. It is kind of weird that, like, because there are no conferences, or at least they don't factor into the playoff seeding, like, we very well might see a matchup of last year's finals, but just in the second round this year, the same way we did the previous year, where like the Liberty played the Aces in the second round rather than the finals. So I do think it's kind of cool to like get to have the same finals matchups year after year. But in this case, we very well might see it in round 2 before we get to that point. Have they talked about like doing an East and West sort of thing, or do we not know?
I don't know. I could see them considering it when the league expands and is a little bit bigger. I kind of like just the 1 through 8 seeding. Like, there is an Eastern and Western conference in the WNBA, but it doesn't affect anything currently. Right. So the 1 through 8 of it is fun. I think what's interesting with the WNBA, just because the season isn't as long, you will have a little bit of random variance. Like, I think part of the reason the Liberty are the 5 seed is because Breonna Stewart was hurt for a good chunk of the year.
Right.
So you can just have...
And just got re-hurt, I believe, unfortunately.
Ugh. So you can have strange things that happen. I think what is fun, though, is that with these playoffs, I feel like it's almost kind of like the MLB playoffs, to make a baseball reference, that there's certain times where the more intense matchup won't be in the latest round, especially if you have something where it's just like one side of the bracket's harder than the other. And that happens with the WNBA playoffs. Like, even the 2018 finals, when the Storm won it, we played the Mercury in the semifinals, and going into it, that was like, this is the matchup. Like, this is
whoever wins this is going to win the finals, sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. So stuff like that can happen. And that could be the same situation here, but the Aces have made it very interesting. I think that run that they're on just makes them truly a contender. I think that there are some certain teams you're going to count out. I think my Storm are probably being counted out justifiably so.
I think the Fever rightfully are probably going to be
without Caitlin Clark. The Dream, it feels almost like the Dream, it feels almost like a can they prove it kind of thing, but I don't know. It's certainly a very compelling playoffs. I think the Mercury Liberty is the most compelling series. That's the one that I see having the highest potential for upset. I feel like the other ones are just going to go chalk. And then probably
that leads to a matchup of either the Lynx or the Liberty versus the Aces in the finals. That's like how it looks to be shaping up for now, but who knows?
I would, if I was a betting person, I would go with the Lynx, especially just because we had the situation where Nafisa Collier was hurt, and because they had such a lead in the standings, they were able to just kind of chill and let her get fully rested, and she came back and is balling. She came back and looks like I'm the MVP if I didn't get hurt this season, Nafisa Collier. So things are looking good there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Always drama, always spice, and it's going to be a fun full playoffs, so people should check it out.
And all leading to the first annual, because this will be the case moving forward, best of 7 WNBA finals, as it should be. And it's going to be great.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be very, very fun. Very quickly, before we move on to the Kawhi stuff, just to tie the button on the Hall of Fame thing, if people didn't know who got inducted.
Oh, yes.
You had Carmelo Anthony of my beloved New York Knicks fame, as well as Denver Nuggets fame and other basketball things, because this isn't just the NBA Hall of Fame, it is the Basketball Hall of Fame. So they take collegiate and international accolades into play. So Melo with his 3 Olympic golds and his NCAA championship, absolute no-brainer. Dwight Howard also got inducted. I think, again, a no-brainer. Sue Bird noises, absolute no-brainer. Similarly, Maya Moore, when you're looking into the college and the WNBA of it, Maya Moore has like an insane career, and it was not that long. If she played as long as Sue did or as Taurasi did, oh my goodness, that would have been truly, truly mind-boggling. But she ended her career early and did some good things, getting people exonerated from crimes they didn't commit, so you can't fault her.
Yeah.
Sylvia Fowles also was inducted.
Bird noises. Fowles.
Yeah. Then you had the 2008 Redeem Team inducted, which I think, sure, but they should not be in before the 2004 Argentina team. How can you have the Redeem Team, but not the what did we have to redeem ourselves from team? I think that's so stupid.
I think the short answer is that even though it is the International Basketball Hall of Fame, it's always going to be more American centric because of the fact that it's here. So I mean, it's not necessarily fair, but I think that's probably why.
I think and hope they got enough flack for this that they induct the 2004 team next year. Yeah. They absolutely should. It's really silly. The only fun thing of it is that you have Chris Paul and LeBron James being the only players to be active players while inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That is
pretty cool.
And then were they both there? I didn't see.
They were both there.
Cool.
Yes. So then Billy Donovan as a coach, Mickey Arison as a contributor / executive, and Danny Crawford as a referee, which that's different than Joey Crawford, right? So
yeah,
okay. Oh, I remember him. Okay, yeah, that guy was fine. Never had super big beef with him. I just Google imaged him. It's like, oh yeah, that guy. But yeah, fun stuff. happy for Sue and Melo, obviously, for my favorite teams. And I'm glad Dwight got in because he was snubbed from the NBA 75 team where they picked the 75 best players on the 75th anniversary of the NBA. And I personally thought he should have got in. He won 4 Defensive Player of the Year titles. He was on the NBA All NBA First Team like 5 years in a row. He had a very bright peak of his career. I think his later career kind of pittering out gives people a different taste in their mouth, but that dude dragged the Orlando Magic to the 2009 finals. You gotta get him in the hall.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, one more quick tidbit before we get to the Kawhi of it all. Paige Beckers, the almost unanimous winner of the Rookie of the Year in the WNBA. She received 70 of the 72 first place votes, with the other 2 going to Sonia Citron, who also had a great year.
She can hoop. I went to a Liberty game last week, and it was against the Mystics. She's very good. Very, very, very good.
Oh, yeah. So, but, Paige, the
deserved silver medal of Rookie of the Year.
Certainly, yeah. And Paige, I would say, very much deserving of the top honor, averaging 19.2 points, 5.4 assists, 3.9 rebounds, and 1.6 steals, shooting almost 50% from the floor and almost 90% from the free throw line. She can hoop. She's fun to watch, and I look forward to seeing her in person, which I have never done.
Me neither. But yeah, let's get to the Kawhi thing. There has been updates since we last recorded. So there was a second and third Pablo Torre Finds Out episode about this. The second was just this argument where Mark Cuban is just, it's now geared on so much where at first, like, he's really defending Steve Ballmer. And at first it just felt like billionaire class solidarity. And the more and more it goes on, it's like, have the Mavs done this? And he's afraid that he's going to get in trouble. Like, it's going on so much that it's entering doth protest too much territory. So that was the second episode, and the whole time Pablo Torre kept saying, like, my sources, my sources, my sources, and the first episode, his sources didn't say too much, like enough for people who are more cynical like me, who inherently distrust billionaires, to be like, yeah, they probably did it. But then a third Pablo Torre episode came out, and that had some more hard-hitting stuff where they had some folks in the C-suite level, so like CEO, COO, that tier of employee, in the C-suite level of Aspiration, the pretend tree planting company, who I don't think we mentioned in the last episode. We said the stuff about like their carbon footprint BS and how they were supposed to negotiate tree planting. They never actually planted the trees. That was
you mentioned that. You mentioned that they were like middleman.
They only, but like none of the trees actually were planted.
Oh no, we didn't mention that. That's horrible.
At the end of the Pablo Torre Finds Out episode, they were talking to, in the first one, the employee, and they said, like, did they actually make sure the trees were planted? And they said that they only went on 2 site visits total, and it was to the same site twice, and they had done like thousands of plantings across hundreds of sites. So I think that's part of the fraud of it all. It's like, I don't think they actually ever facilitated the planting of the trees, or they just like never checked.
Well,
so
in their defense,
put that on top of that.
Their company is called Aspiration, not Action.
We were thinking about it.
Yeah, they aspired to do the right thing.
We hope to. Oh, let's hang out. Let's get lunch sometime. Yeah. So anyway,
Bernie Madoff, but make it trees.
Sure. So in this third total episode, someone from the C-suite revealed a little bit more information. They had shared some bank account statements and wire transfer information with the Pablo Torre Finds Out team. And there's just stuff that's very suspicious. So basically, this contract, the no-show job contract that Kawhi had negotiated, whether he did it, Uncle Dennis did it, whatever, this contract was a $28 million over the course of 4 years contract. So he's supposed to get $7 million each year, and he's supposed to get those in quarterly payments. So he's supposed to get like $1.75 million on a regular occurring basis. And the first payment was late, and then the second payment was very late. And when you look at some of the financial stuff that happened for that second payment, there was an investment of $1.99999 million made by the only minority owner of the Clippers. So Steve Ballmer owns 99% of the Clippers. This other guy, Dennis Wong, owns 1% of the Clippers. This is uncommon. A lot of ownership groups have like many minority owners, but Steve Ballmer is like the 6th richest person on earth. So he could own the full Clippers by himself if he wanted to, but he is this 1% minority owner. They went to college together. They were roommates. They're business partners. So this dude made a $1.9999 million investment, and then like 9 days later, Kawhi got his $1.75 million payment, even though that same day the company laid off a bunch of people. So it feels very much like this money was routed in from the Clippers, basically, to pay a Clipper. And to make it even worse, that dude, David Wong's daughter, was a higher up at Aspiration and survived all of these layoffs.
Ah, very convenient.
Very convenient. So basically, I think even though there's no like 100% like a signed piece of paper that says we're going to do this, which is what happened with the Joe Smith Minnesota Timberwolves thing, like that's why they got Doc for 5 first-round picks. There was literally a piece of paper that like outlined the plan and everyone signed it. There's not that, but there's so much circumstantial evidence, which is enough per the CBA to punish someone for cap circumvention. You can just have circumstantial evidence. There's enough of that the plausible deniability factor, the Clippers trying to claim that we didn't have anything to do with this, seems impossible. Either everyone's a stupid idiot or they let this happen. So the plausible deniability no longer feels plausible or deniable.
Now, I was hearing a little chatter as well about the speculation that like Kawhi's interest in playing or coming back from injuries within a certain window of time allegedly seems tied to when the money landed in his account.
Yeah,
And
there was a stat that was like he played 25% of the games before the late payment was made and then 75% after. That could, with his injury stuff, that could just be a coincidence, but it's kind of funny.
That could just align with when he was coming back anyway, but it is, yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting thing to consider that they're like, oh, how do you feel? And he's like, I'm feeling like I'm still waiting on some money to hit my account, and then ask me again. I'm not saying that happened for sure. Who knows?
Yeah.
But listen, none of this is a good look for Kawhi either.
No, I think with Kawhi, it just kind of shows where his priorities are at. What's funny is that there is a Ringer guy, Waz. I don't know his last name. He's just guested on the shows that I listened to, but he was on the Bill Simmons pod, and he said that Kawhi probably didn't lose a minute of sleep. His blood pressure went up by 0 points with all of this. Like, I don't think Kawhi is bothered by it. I don't think Uncle Dennis is bothered by it because I don't think they're going to get in trouble. Like, I think it's just the team or if they try to scapegoat this, they're going to blame it on the company, not Kawhi and Uncle Dennis. And if the Clippers get in trouble, it'll be the Clippers, not Kawhi and Uncle Dennis. So, yeah, I think it's a bad look for him just in terms of like a legacy perspective. Even if Uncle Dennis is the one who did all of the negotiating and Kawhi wasn't doing like the evil stuff here, I don't know, man. Like, I just... I think people will still look negatively upon him, and I think it's valid because you are, by going along with this in any way, shape, or form, you are jeopardizing the future of the team. Like, he is still under contract with the Clippers. Like, if they get punished and they lose a bunch of draft picks and anything else, like that does make the Clippers worse. So it just kind of shows like a lack of dedication towards the pursuit of a championship with the Clippers. It just seems like his priorities are more like, give me the money, let me play in LA, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be something that people associate with Kawhi, I think, for a long time, especially depending on like what the fallout from all of this is. And as we've discussed before, you kind of feel like even if Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, or even if the NBA itself, like, doesn't really want to penalize them because they know how valuable having somebody like Steve Ballmer is for the league, you kind of have to, or you just lose all credibility. And you're in some ways encouraging other people to circumvent the rules the same way.
Right. I think a factor in making the second apron, these contract rules that penalize teams for just spending above the cap, I think part of it is out of fear of Steve Ballmer being an owner, because he could eat all of these penalties and be completely fine. So they had to create some non-financial penalties, like making it harder for your team to operate. And it would be especially silly if he's the one violating this and you don't come down hard on him.
Right.
Like, if you do all this stuff to make the cap more strict and now you have someone going against the cap, you've got to act hard. And Because otherwise, like you're saying, every team will just do this now. Like every
Right.
team will just do this. Oh, how do we do this? We just get an advertising deal on the side. We give them the money and the money goes to them. And I think that there are probably these side deals going on, but not $28 million up to $50 million with the whole stock option thing.
And not as poorly
where-
covered up, probably.
And also not in a situation where the person doesn't have to do anything. The two most wild things of it, even if you're trying to take the Cuban side of it all, of like these people scammed the Clippers or they acted independently, in what world does this company have any sort of advantage or incentive to sign a deal with a celebrity for an endorsement deal where they never have to do any work and they never publicize it? Like they're not even getting any goodwill of this guy's part of our company. They're not getting any promotion of the company. And then they're paying him $28 million and giving him $20 million in stock option. Like there's just nothing of it that makes sense. I think these things probably happen at smaller dollar scale amounts, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they do commercials or something. Like at least there's something happening there. But tens of millions
Nobody's
of dollars
giving away
to
$28
do
million
nothing?
for nothing. It's just not happening.
Absolutely not. No, it's just not happening. So there's been more reporting. So like the original timeline is like Steve Ballmer invested $50 million when things were starting to go bad with this company. Then you have David Wong doing the $2 million before the payment. There's even more reporting now that Steve Ballmer gave another $10 million in March of 2023, which is like after the company is like very obviously failing and laying people off and getting in trouble and, you know, federal indictment stuff going on. That's the other thing, is that they were already being like federally investigated when David Wong made that investment. So like legally they had to send him a letter that was like, hey, before you invest in our company, we are legally obligated to tell you that we are under federal investigation. And he still did it. So like, in what world are these quote unquote smart businessmen, you know, doing the unthinkably unsound in terms of a business decision? It's just, there's so much going on that I don't think it could be anything else other than what it is assumed to be, which is a way to pick Kawhi Leonard on the side.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what results from this, and you kind of feel like we should know before the season begins. I mean, I think at some point,
but I don't think we will.
We won't, because as always, it'll be like, well, we have to complete the full investigation before we make any determination. But then that could be even more interesting, where in the middle of the season, all of a sudden they're like, all right, we've completed our investigation and we are taking such and such steps. I certainly think we're going to know what the result is before next year's draft, because that is perhaps where the Clippers will be hit the hardest.
I also think that they would be incentivized to do it before this season's trade deadline. Because if I'm another team, I'm trying to get a Clippers draft pick by any means. Anything I can do to get a Clippers draft pick, because even if they get their draft picks taken away, if you've traded them to me, the Toronto Raptors, you're not going to take it away from me. I didn't do anything wrong. So like, if I was a GM, I would be looking at any team, whether it's the Clippers or another team that already has a Clippers pick. I'm trying to get me a Clippers pick, man. I'm trying to get one. Buy now. So yeah, I think they have like the official investigation going on with this law firm, and it's probably going to be a months-long process. So we'll just have to see.
I guess the other side of that is the Clippers trading away all of their draft picks for the next 15 years, being like, well, you can penalize us, but it's not going to hurt us until 2040.
They have traded a good chunk away, but they do still have some of the future ones. But also the NBA could say, all right, we're going to get rid of picks that aren't tradable yet, or they will get around the Stepien rule, which is the rule where you can't trade picks in successive years. They might say, screw it, we're taking away your pick anyway. Like the NBA could go as intense as they want to here. I think the most likely outcome is it's in between the tampering, slap on a wrist, second round pick and a small dollar amount fine, and the giant Joe Smith 5 first-round picks thing. I think it'll be like 2 first-round picks and a substantial dollar fine.
I think they should make Steve Ballmer sell hot dogs and beer until he hits $28 million in sales, like the end of Rookie of the Year.
You pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Come on, Steve. The other thing that has been talked about is that they might void Kawhi's contract, but it still counts against the books for the Clippers.
Ooh.
So I think that feels pretty legit.
Yeah,
I think that's warranted. So
very interesting.
Again, we'll see what's going on. We're recording this portion on September 16th. There will probably be more Pablo Torre finds out episodes to come and other things to happen. But that's where things are at right now. It's looking really bad for the Clippers.
Exactly. And that is going to take us into that actually happened about a charity basketball tournament where there was a lot less shady business going on than the Clippers.
Better vibes. As foretold in last episode, and probably also earlier in this episode, we are here with our That Actually Happened, which is about the big Walkowski 9, the basketball tournament that Adam and I participated in this past weekend at the time of recording.
Yeah.
We're recording this portion at least on Thursday, the 11th of September, and we'll record the rest of the episode later, but we wanted this fresh in our mind given this weekend's tournament. It was a fun time.
It was a lot of fun. Honestly, like everything went exactly as I would have hoped other than winning the whole thing. Like that's literally the only thing that didn't happen that I would want to have happened differently. But it was very funny because listening back to our last episode as I was taking the audio notes, like almost everything that we talked about came up at some point. And fortunately for us...
all of the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, exactly. And fortunately for us, like, I don't think we were on the wrong end of any of the don'ts, at least. I think, at no point was there a situation where, like, you or I or anyone on our team were being just jerks, basically. I mean, I feel like the gist of it, I was just talking to Ginger Spurs Boy, aka Matthew, on Instagram, and he was like, yeah, the basic TLDR of that whole thing was like, just don't be an ass.
Yep. It's pretty much the whole episode. But yeah, the good thing is at this tournament, lots of good vibes. It's for a good cause. Lots of people know each other.
Yeah.
So there were few instances of bad behavior. But let's take it from the top.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's give people the rundown of the whole thing.
So
we competed in a comedic basketball tournament for charity. That actually happened.
Yes, we have had the purveyor/organizer of said festival on the podcast several times. His name is Joel Walkowski. He's a huge basketball fan, and he started this, I guess it would be 10 years ago because we missed the year for 2020, and then I think we came back that following year. So it's been going on for a decade. There has always been a charity component to it, but as I alluded to on our last episode, the past 2 years it has been in honor of Live On NY, which is an organization which helped to donate some of Kenny DeForest's organs to save, I think it's like 4 or 5 different people's lives or improve their lives. And I actually, after recording the last episode, got to take a tour of the facility. It is incredibly cool. Also, just if you're interested in science, like the ability to do organ donation is such a new thing, relatively speaking, that it's just fascinating to learn about. Obviously, to any of you listening, it's certainly a personal decision. And I know for some people, there's like a religious component of it, whatever that may be for you. Definitely check out the link that we're going to share. Look into it for yourself. I've been an organ donor for as long as I have been allowed to be, which is basically when you get a driver's license. So like I said,
same.
Yeah, you got to make your own decision for yourself, but it's a really incredible way to have a legacy, even if you're not here anymore. So I guess I'll jump to the end of it, which is that in the course of the tournament, almost $8,000 was raised for this organization, which is really cool.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was great. So the way it works is that there are 16 teams. So there are 16 captains. I was one of the captains. Joel was as well. And as we talked about in the last episode, I had this plan of like, I want to draft Mike, obviously, but I think I can get away with doing it in the latter rounds just because nobody really has seen him play basketball before. So it kind of worked exactly as I hoped. Now, the way they did the draft, and I guess I'm already fast forwarding, the tournament started with a very interesting rendition of the national anthem. That's how I'm going to describe it because Tommy is a friend of mine, but certainly an interesting rendition. That was followed, I believe, then by a fencing match that took place.
There was a fencing
There's always some
match
sort of
that took
bit.
place.
That's like a hallmark of this tournament, is that there's some sort of weird bit that happens. And in this case, it was that 2 fencers came out in full-on fencing gear and were like, we have the courts reserved, so we are going to do a fencing tournament today and not a basketball tournament. And then they're like, all right, well, if I win, one of the fencers, was like, if I win, then we get the courts for basketball. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it was a fixed fight. I don't think it was completely fair.
Yeah, so were those actual fencing guys or were those 2 comedians that you knew dressed up in fencing gear?
I honestly don't even know. I have no idea. I don't know where they got the fencing stuff. It was a ridiculous bit, but naturally the fencer who we were all supposed to be rooting for won. And then I believe after that, what followed was a freestyle rap from a comedian named Rufat, who's actually a pretty good rapper. I didn't catch any strays in that one, but then Dan Yang, who we've had on the podcast before, came out and told some roast jokes. Dan, if you're listening, listen. Some of them hit, some of them did not. He did refer to me as Adam MamaWAWA because I'm such a baby because I call so many fouls, which is not, nor was it true. But you know, he was just having some fun. And then the draft order was determined by rubber duckies floating in a kiddie pool that a child, I assume that belonged to some comedian. I don't think it was just like a loose kid.
No, I don't think it was a loose kid from the adjacent playground to the park.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was someone's
child was the person who pulled the ducks out one by one. And on the bottom of each rubber ducky, there was a name written in Sharpie. Now, unfortunately for me, I don't remember exactly which pick I had, but it was late. It was like 12 or 13.
You were the 12th of 16, which this is what I'll say when we get into the team construction. I think we, at the end, had a solid roster. Yes. I think you were most hampered by, like, our first pick selection was probably the fourth worst, like the second to last best person on our team.
Yeah, so here's what happened. At this tournament, even someone like me who's like part of the comedy world, I still don't know everybody. A lot of these are like young comedians. Some of them are just like comedy adjacent people, which is what I would describe you as. Like you're friends with a comedian, you're kind of in the comedian orbit. So they had a draft list and they had like a spreadsheet, but it's going so fast that you don't even know who's available anymore. It's all very chaotic. And of course, we're like starting late, so Joel wants to speed things up. But anyway, by the time it was my pick, there were a couple people I was targeting, and then all those people were picked. And in the interest of saving time, I just asked Joel, I was like, I need a big man, like give me a name of somebody. And he gave me this guy's name who was like a big man, but not really in the way that I intended because he was not that tall. He was just like a very strong dude. But so he was my first pick. I'd never met him before. I'd never seen him. I just kind of went in blind. And so after the first pick, I was like, this is not good. No judgment on that guy. Just like, I don't know him. And it wasn't necessarily like the archetype of player I was looking for. So what happens in these drafts is it's called a snake draft. So like if you pick towards the end of the first round, that means you pick towards the beginning of the second round. So every time I had a pick, then there were only like 6 more picks before I got the next one and then a long break. So I picked that guy with the first pick. And then the second pick, I felt pretty confident that I was going to be able to get you later. And I also definitely felt the pressure of like, I really need to make sure that I get somebody who I think is going to be really elite or we're screwed. So I had seen this kid shooting around. His name is Zach. I didn't know his name at the time. Evidently, he's a comedian. I can't speak to his comedy prowess, but I will tell you, he looked like he was in unbelievable shape. I saw him warming up. I saw him hooping. I saw the shoes he was wearing. That's really what it comes down to is like gear at a certain point. Like physique and gear 100%. Is kind of how you make the assessment.
I intentionally warmed up in different shoes than I played in because I was on the agenda of trying to not look too good during warmups.
Yeah. I think you mostly kept it under the radar. And at a certain point, there's just so many people that like, you know, it's pretty easy if you're just kind of standing in the back of the crowd, not drawing attention to yourself. So
that's exactly what I was doing. I was pacing. I was on my phone. I was keeping a low profile.
So I literally just said like, if you can hear me, whoever the guy is with the like the colorful Steph Curry's, like I believe I described him as a pretty boy, which he was.
You did describe him as a pretty boy. He was a pretty boy. Good looking dude.
Good looking guy. And I picked him and it was the right pick. He was great. Very good player, very good teammate. Yeah. He played D1 soccer in college, so like endless stamina because you obviously need that. So I start talking to him. He's like, hey, my buddy is here. His name is Adam, so obviously plus points on that one. He's like, I think he'd be a good fit. We played soccer together. He's a good basketball player. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pick my friend first, but then if he's available, I got you. So everything comes back around. I had to wait a long time, but Shubes was still available. So I went up to the microphone, said, Mike Schubert. He came over. And then shortly thereafter, the next pick was up. And that same guy that Zach had recommended was available. So I picked him. I'm going to call him the other Adam. No disrespect, but I was the first Adam. Sure. Sorry. Both in the world and on the team. I'm pretty sure he's younger than me. And then we had one final pick because the teams were big. It was meant to be a 3-on-3 tournament. It ended up being 4-on-4 just to like get everybody involved. And then I picked a comic named Donnie Sengstak, who's a very funny comic and I would say a pretty good basketball player. I feel like he doesn't play a lot anymore, but he was solid.
He was good for the last pick because I think picking me in the third round was the right call because soon after I was picked, it turned into just like scanning the crowd. It was all people that the captains didn't know.
Right.
So it was scanning the crowd for like who looks the best. And if you were tall or athletic looking, you were getting picked. So I would have been picked. I think
so. There's a chance if I didn't pick you in the third, you would have been gone like 6 or 7 picks. Right.
I would have been gone in that like end. Yeah. Right. So.
And then I would have, because I was weighing like, and obviously you're a good player, so don't take this the wrong way, but like I was kind of weighing how badly do I want to win versus how much do I just prioritize like playing with my friend. And I think I struck that balance perfectly of like doing both, accomplishing both. So when all was said and done, I think we had a really strong team. I don't really love being in charge of who plays when. So I kind of got everybody together, and I think I did a good job of this, of like, introduce yourself, talk about your strengths. A lot of people kind of shared similar, like, I've got a good motor, like I hustle really hard, which is good. And so we started, I think, with like the first 4 people who were drafted. So it was myself and Mike and the other two guys. And I was playing against this guy, Nate, who I think, we've had him on the podcast also when we did the Malice at the Palace episode. But he is who I was like talking shit to all week. I kept filming myself shooting 3-pointers and making them and talking smack. And it was very funny back and forth. But at the very least, I was like, we got to beat this guy. I've been talking crap all week. Like, we have to win this game. So first game, we come out. Dominating performance. It should have been 11-0. It ended up being 11-1, but we were playing by 1s and 2s, which means that if you're on an outdoor court, because of the fact that the rims are not good and it's much harder to hit a 3-pointer, it's weighted differently. So instead of like a 3-2 ratio, it's a 2-1 ratio. So 1s and 2s, winner's ball. So if you make a basket, your team keeps getting the ball until you don't. Take the ball back on everything. So if there's a turnover or a block, a steal, you have to take it back behind the 3-point line. But really, really good team effort in that first game. I think you hit like maybe an elbow jumper and then a 2-pointer. I hit a nice little fadeaway bank shot. In general, it was just it was not close at any point in that game.
No, 11-1, complete domination. I think the key was their other team really had, like, their main guy was very good. And the smart move for us was we had Zach and him kind of facing off, but then literally any chance I got to swap onto that guy, I did. And that basically meant he was always guarded by either me or Zach, like, who was feeling fresh.
Right.
And like we had multiple times where we locked him down because my strongest asset is defense, especially when you're talking about a half court game. If this was full court, I think our team would have won the whole thing with everybody being like in good shape and trying hard. We would have been an incredible full court team.
The advantage is limited when it's half court because those 2 soccer guys and you, I would say, would be the people who would be just like out hustling and outlasting everybody.
When I play pickup now, it's all just like rolling out for stuff. And it's funny, I didn't realize this because I'd been playing, for years and years before my softball era with you began. And that's when I learned I was fast. Like, I didn't know I was fast until softball.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, the thing is, when I played sports and stuff growing up, it was before I had my growth spurt. So I played all my years of baseball and stuff when I was like the shortest kid on the team.
Right.
And then I grew 9 inches in 1 year in high school and I didn't play baseball anymore.
That sounds painful.
So
did your legs just hurt for like a year?
I don't know. I remember blowing through clothes and being like, what's going on? Like,
my pants are capris.
All my shoes have holes in them. But I played high school basketball and tennis, and like, there's some sprinting in basketball, but like not a lot, like not as much as soccer would have, or track, obviously. And then tennis, it's all shuffling. So I just didn't have a lot of like sprinting sports. And now for, softball makes it very clear because baseball is very sprinting. And it was that made me kind of realize, because I had years and years where like I'd be playing pickup basketball and I would always be like getting all of my points from on a turnover, just running, and then people like chucking it down, Kevin Love passes to me. And for years I was just like, I'm just trying harder than everyone else, which I am, but also I'm fast. So if we had full court, I think we would have dominated. But you're right. Our team energy was so good. And Donnie as the last pick was a perfect last pick because You're also correct. You don't want to be a jerk and like tell people to sit. I think we did a very good job of everyone got even playing time. That was probably our downfall in the second game that we ended up losing, was like, if we were meaner, we could have told some of the less talented folk, don't get on the court, but like, that's not why we're here.
Yeah. I didn't want there to be any games where we had someone sit out the whole game. And Donnie, to his credit, actually came up to me and said like, hey, I get it. If you need to not play me, like, it's okay. But still, I think to just get someone in for a stretch of time, and we'll talk about the second game in a minute here, but like, yeah, there were a couple times where I think I had Donnie come in for me and I should have just stayed out there. But I was trying to be the people pleaser and magnanimous gentleman that I tried to be.
The good thing with Donnie is that he at least, like, no one on our team was a take a bad shots, force the issue guy.
Right.
And honestly, with the last pick in the draft, you really just want someone who's not going to be terrible. Like, you don't want someone who's going to do active bad things. So to have someone like him where, like, at least he's running hard, trying to play defense, passing the ball and rebounding.
Everybody
like,
played hard.
He's not going to screw stuff up.
Everybody passed well. And the big thing in the first game was, like, the other team just wasn't passing the ball. It was all iso
and that
ball.
was the thing. They kept giving it to that dude.
Right.
And then me and Zach had him pretty locked down. I felt really good about one of the defensive possessions I had on him, just like complete clamps. And then, we had ball movement. You made shots. Zach made shots. I made shots. It was good. We were fighting for rebounds. And it was all energy in that first one. Like, it was purely like effort of the ball's up. We're crashing the boards. We're going for the rebound. The other team is, hanging out on the perimeter, praying a bounce goes to them. And the rebounding numbers were far skewed in our favor.
Now, one of the big things I've noticed as we move into game 2 is that the way it's set up is that Joel rents 2 full basketball courts. So at any given moment, there are 4 games happening because we're playing half-court games. But that means only 4 of 16 teams are playing. And so we were the first game on one of the courts. And so that means we won handily. And then we just sat around for like probably half an hour. And especially the older
Vito ate
we
a
all
cheeseburger, that didn't help him.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. The older you get, the harder it is to just like get cold and then get hot again. And so I've always felt that it's a big advantage to be like the last team that plays in the first round, because then if you win, you're going right into the second game with momentum and still warm, not having to like
especially after we win 11-1. Oh, it would have been really nice to get back on the court soon after.
Right. So in the second game, we matched up against a team that it was clear immediately that they were just going to be a much better team. And I think
than the one that we played. I wouldn't say they were probably even with us. I think they were
not better than us, better than the team that we had played.
Better than the previous team. They were big and they were deep. Like similarly, all 5 of their guys were good, and that's just tough.
Yeah, and so I want to say that we ended up going up in that game like 6-2. I know I hit a 2-point shot early on a nice pass from you in the corner, and I think that might have been our first 2 points of the game.
It was.
And then, we certainly weren't dominating, but it seemed like we had it in control, and I think maybe when we were up like 4-2 or 6-2 or something like that, I subbed myself out and
we both subbed out at 4-2. You subbed in to get Donnie. I subbed in to get Adam in.
Yeah.
Because to be frank, I was playing a dude. I had to like clamp more hard on defense. My knee started to hurt a little bit, and I was like, how about I go out now? I'm gonna want to go out at some point. Let's like go out, rub this, rest this a little. And I think that was just the like starting and then stopping of it.
Right.
So I was like, how about I just go out now and then I'll go in later. And then it was a smart decision because Adam number 2 came in and immediately hit a 2-pointer.
Yeah, and that put us up 6-2.
So we were up 6-2, and I was like, I'm a genius.
Right. Yeah, that was a big shot. And at that moment, I was like, all right, we're cooking here. I think we're going to be fine.
I felt real good.
And then little by little, we weren't like playing bad basketball. I don't think we were really turning the ball over, but they had some good players. They had one guy who looked like he was like 18, like this young kid.
That kid was young, and he just kept driving
fast
on Adam, and he was just faster than him.
Yeah.
He was just faster than him. He kept getting to the hoop, and they
maybe only you and Zach could have stopped that kid.
Yeah, I think that was the problem, is that like part of me was like, oh, I should have guarded that guy. But I was like, but the guy I was guarding was good.
Right.
Like, that guy Gabe is very tall. And I was like, I was guarding him. And then I was like, but then there's that other guy that Zach was guarding who kept making the threes. I'm like, yeah, but if I'm guarding him, then who's guarding Gabe?
There's a whole
and then who's guarding, like, they just
effect.
had they didn't have like one dominant dude where I could have been like, let me defend him. I think that was the key in the first game, is that Zach and I were just put the clamps on their best player and then they were screwed. Right. They had a very evenly distributed team, and their big guy was good. And it was tough because Vito had like a couple plays, our big dude, where he like would get some good rebounds and then rather than pass it out, like forced it up and didn't make any of them. And it was like, great play to get the rebound, immediately followed by a bad play to not make the shot.
Yeah, and I would say if there's anything that I would critique myself on in that game, and I think to some degree this speaks to me just like wanting to be a good teammate and not like hog the ball. But when you're playing a good team, if you have an open look, you have to shoot it immediately, because by the time you fake, pump fake or just you're not decisive, they've already closed out. So there were a couple times where like I got the ball with enough space that I could have gotten a good shot up, and I hesitated, or I didn't want to like just shoot the ball immediately on that possession. And then I didn't take any bad shots. I took maybe like one contested three that I shouldn't have taken, but like other than that, I would just have to pass it. But the difference is like the first team we played, you could pump fake and get past them easily. This team was not letting you do that.
No, they had enough big guys and they were rotating well on defense that it wasn't as easy. They were defending Zach better than the other team defended him, and he was kind of like our offensive focal point. It was tough. They were getting rebounds.
Yeah,
they were a good team. And then really what it came down to was they just made at least 3 threes, and that's 6 points. That's half the game, and it quickly went from 6-2 to 8-6, I think.
Well, no, what happened actually is that I think they might have tied it, or we were up like 7-6, and then I know at one point it was 7-7, and something happened that we talked about in the last episode, and we were very specific about this exact thing, which is like, if you wouldn't call a foul when it's 9-0, don't call it when it's 9-9. And so it was a 7-7 score. We're playing a game to 11, and their guy calls a foul on. I mean, at best, it was like a light foul, a 50-50 call. And the other thing is, like, we're playing pickup. The rule is, like, you really try to not call fouls unless you get mauled. And our best player, Zach, who's very strong, it's almost like LeBron where it, like, works against you. He was getting battered around. He wasn't calling it. I wish he had.
Yeah, I think he was being nice because he, like me, was new and he didn't want to come in and immediately start. Like, I understand his instinct not to do it. He's not really a stand-up comedian as ingrained with the crew as everyone else is. So I get it. But yes, it sucked that the tone was not set as it should have been, which was, hey, we're not calling late fouls. Yes. And I'm pretty sure this dude only called it because he missed the layup. He like waited till it bounced out and then said, I'll call that. And it's like, that's such a non-definitive way to do it.
I would have minded less if he had said and one on the shot, because at least that implies that he thought there was a foul in the moment. Like, you're still not supposed to do that.
Oh, but if you say and one, that delete, that's trash talk. That's not a foul call. If someone says and one, I don't accept that.
I accept it only if the shot goes in, and then it doesn't matter anyway because you'd be getting the ball.
Right, but if you miss it, I'm not calling it a foul.
I agree,
if you say and one, that is trash talk. That's not like basketball.
Yeah, so that was a frustrating one because like if we got the ball there and then he was like, no, I'll call. To your point, I'll call that.
I'll call that.
A very weak move.
And we were in a great position too because it was like he did a drive. Zach and I kind of like crashed to defend it, and we had people spread out, and he missed this layup, and I had grabbed the rebound. And because he had driven, I'm pretty sure you and other Adam were like on the 3-point line. We for sure could have kicked it out and maybe got an immediate 3. And then it's 9-7 if you make it. Like,
and we didn't end up scoring after that point. They ended up going up. No. They were up 10-7. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 9-7. And then one of their guys hit a corner shot that you and I both saw it. His foot was clearly on the line. He was
healthily inside the line.
And so he hit the shot. Everyone started celebrating like they won the game. And you and I were both like, hold up. Like that's a 1.
What was really good. What was good is I did some pre-production work here. When we were starting the game, it was like a little slow to start, and I was squaring off against this guy, Gabe, who I don't know if I've met him before. He looked kind of familiar. I don't know why. I don't know if I like have happened to play pickup basketball against him or something. He looked familiar.
Yeah.
And I forget what our conversation was, but we were chatting up a little bit, just like, I think laughing about how the game wasn't starting immediately, blah, blah, blah. So we had just like some fun, casual conversation going before the game started. And then it actually did start. So then when he did this shot, you would immediately were like, no foot was on the line. I like at first didn't argue it because I thought it was so obvious. So when he shot it, I was like, okay, cool, it's a 1. And then I went to box out and he made it. And then when I noticed they were celebrating, I was like, what? Okay, wait, what? Like that was not a 2. And then I went over to Gabe and because he was a little upset when you called him out. And I was like, yo, you were inside the line. And he literally said to me like, I don't see why you would lie to me. So I'll take it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
But unfortunately they got the ball back. They're up 10-7. Yes, you established a rapport. But then on the next possession immediately, their guy who hit, I think like 2 or 3 threes or 2.
This was his third 3 of the game.
Yeah, he
was the guy who called foul. He made a 3 to put him up 9-7, I think, and then he hit a pretty deep 3 to make it 12-7, and then that was the game.
Yeah, that was that. So disappointing. I think we would have had a good chance in the next round because at that point, like, if you win that game, then you are one of the final 4 teams, and then you just have to win one more game to get to the final. I've never even been to the final, so that would have been cool to get there. But all in all, no regrets. Like we played a solid team and lost in that second round. You and I got to play together. It was super fun. It's good vibes. Right. Obviously, like I said, we raised a bunch of money for charity. They actually, I forgot this earlier, but they had somebody from the organization there and a father of a kid who had passed away whose organs had been donated via this organization. So all of that was really cool. The vibes are great. There was some free food from I forget which pizza place, but there's pizza. There were burgers.
Paulie G Slice Shop.
Oh,
it was
of course.
good.
The highlight, of course, was Courtney Farrington in his last Big Walkowski eating a burger while playing.
Incredible stuff. So funny. You had the pro move where you were like, take a burger because there's not enough, but save it until we're out, which was genius.
Yeah, I just put it in my backpack because I was like, there's no way. I've been around enough comedians. When there is free food amongst comedians, it makes hyenas look polite.
Yeah. I was surprised at how many people were eating burgers in between games 1 and 2. That was nuts.
Yeah,
but Courtney balling while burgering was really good.
Yeah,
he was like great. Put it in his mouth sometimes, put it like wrapped.
He intentionally tried to draft the worst team that he could. That was his mission.
Oh, his team, the one who had the guy who shot it, waited for it to rim out and then hit the night celebration
the same
afterwards.
Guy who sang the
that
national
was
anthem.
So funny.
Incredible.
So funny. Courtney was great. He started like play-by-play commentating after his team was eliminated, and he had some really funny jokes in there too. Playing good music as well. So that was fun. But you left out the big thing that salvaged it in the end, aside from Kelly and the baby showing up.
Yes.
The 3-point contest.
Yes. So what they did was they knew they were going to have some time to kill, which actually it turns out we didn't have time to kill and should have just gotten straight to the game. But
yeah, because of the rain.
Yeah. They were like, if anybody wants to do a 3-point contest, come sign up. I assumed it would be like a real one where I knew there wasn't like a rack of balls, but that somebody would like feed it to you and you go around the corner. But what
I thought it was going to be around the world.
Yes, but what it ended up being was like 20 people signed up and they're like, we don't have the time. So to do the 3-point contest, you have to make a 3. You get one chance, and if you make it, you're in, and if not, you're out. So you and I both shot. Unfortunately, you didn't make yours, but I made mine, and I was one of 6 people who got to compete. And the way they did it was they just had someone timing. 30 seconds on the clock, you get to have 2 rebounders. So I had Mike and this other guy, also named Michael, as it turns out, and they were my rebounders. What are you going to say?
So Michael, the whole day, I was like, this guy looks so familiar. Yeah. And there were so many people there because we've done the thing every year where we get the 2 people on to do the finals discussion. And we've had a bunch of your comedian friends. So there's a lot of people. I was like, oh yeah, right. That guy's the Nuggets fan. Oh yeah, right. That guy's the Pistons fan. He's the Pacers fan. So I was remembering all that. And this whole time I was like, this guy looks so familiar. And it was really bugging me. And then we were rebounding together. And finally I was like, let me just like say hi. So I was like, hey, I'm Mike. I was like, have we had you on Horse? And he was like, what? And I was like, oh, I guess not. Maybe I've seen you at Adam and I do a podcast together. Maybe I've seen you at his shows or something. And then it wasn't until later. He was on a couple of episodes of Pablo Torre Finds Out. That's why I knew this guy. And it was like racking my brain all week, which I wish I'd remembered because I would have complimented him. But it was kind of funny. But yes, so I was rebounding for you. I was very excited to rebound for you because I was like, I'm going to try hard as fuck because I want Adam to win.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And so it was 30 seconds on the clock. So let's see how many threes you can hit. And I just got on a little run. I think I missed maybe the first couple. And then I ended up hitting 6 threes in 30 seconds.
Yeah, he had a run where he made 4 in a row. There was at one point the ball rimmed out and was bouncing quite far and was heading towards where Kelly and the baby were standing off to the side. Kelly, who filmed the whole thing, which was awesome. But the video does include her going, ah, and protecting our child from a rogue basketball. But I did chase it down and do like a jumping throw around pass to get it to you. But yeah, I felt like I was hitting you good in the chest. I was trying real hard because I, was thinking I am not in this competition, but if I can assist in the victory, let's do it.
Yeah. No, so that was pretty great as well. There was no prize. I just got to say, hey, everybody.
Bragging rights is good enough, man. Bragging rights is all
so
you need.
I have not yet won the Big Walkowski, but I am the defending 3-point champion.
3-point champion. Yeah. I think we get it next year for Big Walk 10. I think we try to again see how late it can go until you draft me. We might have some, ringers in the hole. We try to get Doug to come through and keep him under the radar. I know he plays a lot of pickup, and he's a big dude, so could work out. I don't know, but I feel
you met a New York Knick.
Oh my God, holy crap, I got to talk about the Tyler Kolek of it all. Yeah. So in the beginning, when Joel was doing the whole spiel, he was saying stuff about, we've got Paulie G's Pizza coming later. We've got these burgers coming later. We've got Tyler Kolek coming later. And I thought that was just a funny joke because he was a stand-up comedian making jokes. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was funny for him to name drop the least recognizable New York Knick as someone that would come through. And then after we had finished our game and the other games were going on, I was looking over on the sidelines and I was like, oh, that is Tyler Kolek. Like, that's Tyler Kolek.
Well, we're basically the same height as him, so he's like fairly unassuming.
He's 6'2", so he's not super tall. He's a point guard on the Knicks. He was a rookie this past season, so he's going into his second year. He didn't get a ton of playing time because Tibbs, but he should get more playing time coming up. And yeah, he was like a late first round, maybe early second round pick for us. And he's shown some promise. Dude can hoop. And as you made a comment, which I think is true, he's got to be nasty if he is about the same height as, he's, I would say, below average height of the people in attendance, maybe like exactly average, because there's some good taller folks there. And he's the pro athlete of the group. It's like, okay, that dude's gotta
he has the vibe
nuts.
of like, just because he blended in so well, you would never have known that he wasn't just like a comedian waiting to play in one of the games. Like, I
100%.
assume if he's at a bar and like, was talking to a lady and she's like, what do you do? And he's like, I play for the Knicks. She's like, yeah, and I'm the president. Like, it seems like something that it would just be made up, but nevertheless.
Yeah. So I was determined to talk to him because I've never had the chance to talk to a New York Knick in an extended setting.
Sure.
So I went over there and I've had enough celebrity interactions by doing the convention stuff that I've done that I like know how to not be weird with it and how to, work your way in. My big strategy is do not talk to them about their thing. So I was going in saying like, okay, don't talk to him about the Knicks. You can get into the Knicks later, but like do something else. And I just kind of stood over there. I think, I did open with a Knicks line where I said something like, oh, so you're not getting on the court, right? Your contract wouldn't let you, because there's usually these sports contracts of like, you can't play outside of like accepted things, like pick up games with fellow coaches and NBA players and stuff. He said stuff about just being a spectator. He explained that he was here supporting his friend, who's a comedian that's from Providence. At the time, I got a show coming up this Saturday in Providence, Rhode Island. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually heading there next weekend. So then we started talking about Providence a little bit. I was asking him what it was like. He compared it to, I had explained that I was from Jersey. He's like, it's probably similar to you growing up in Jersey. And then he said something about Westchester. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm assuming you live up there because of the practice facility. And he said yes, which then had us talking about the Westchester County Center, which is where the G League Knicks play and where the Liberty used to play. So I talked about going to Liberty games there, and he was like, the Liberty used to play there? Like, he had no idea. So we talked about that for a little bit.
Seemed like a nice guy.
I don't know what else, but it was super nice guy, super chill conversation. Talked to him a little bit there. Because then his friend started like doing some street ball moves. So we started like laughing and talking about those. He did like put a hand on the head of the opponent thing.
In the game?
He did.
Yeah,
oh my God,
did. That's funny.
And then he did like a behind the back through the legs kind of deal. He was buzzing out a couple trick moves. So we were laughing about that. And then, after the 3-point contest, I just like walked up, and when we were about to leave, I just, shook his hand and said like, nice to meet you. Thanks for chatting. good luck on the season, and then left.
Very
and
cool.
I asked Kelly to snap a pic of it, which was cool. But yeah, he was super nice, super down to earth dude. I didn't want to bug him with any sort of like, can we take a selfie?
Sure.
There was a guy like asking him to follow him on Instagram. Like the guy asked Tyler for his Instagram and then was like, can you follow me back? And I was like, dude,
Don't
what are you,
ask that in
12?
person.
What are we doing
Yeah.
here? Yeah. So I think I handled it super chill.
You know what? This actually should inspire an episode of your podcast with Sequoia about like how do you approach someone that you
Yes.
admire.
That's good. That's actually a really good episode because it is tricky
Sure.
and I have successfully managed it quite a few
Yes.
times. But I think this one went very well. It's one of those things where like, what do you want to get out of it? Do you want to get out of it a selfie so that you can show people? Or do you want a good story where you can be like, I had a genuine interaction with
Totally.
Tyler Kolek. And no, I do not have a selfie with him, but I'll have the memory forever.
Yeah.
And that's so much better than me going, hey, dude, can I take a picture?
Right.
It was so much more fun just to like chop it up with him about Providence and Westchester and his friend and New Jersey and the Liberty. Way better.
Yeah. But that was it.
So-
That was a big Wilkowski. 9.
Yeah. Big 9. Let's get Big 10. Now that I have the familiarity with like how it works and some of the people, I feel a little more comfortable. I understand more of it. I feel like I, just like Zach, didn't want to bring too much intensity to it. But in a game to 11 by 1s and 2s, like that second game went by in such a blur
It did,
that I
yeah.
feel like if we were more, I don't know if you can call a timeout, but I feel like we needed to like pump the brakes and gather as a team and like get our shit together.
You know what? I actually should.
And,
I'm sure Joel wouldn't go for it because it already takes too long and, you know, it never starts on time. I think every team should get like one timeout.
Yeah.
One timeout per game.
I mean, you don't even need a full timeout. Just like when you finally get the ball or something, just like huddle the dudes in. I feel like that would have been good in that game because it was just going by so quickly.
Yeah.
And they were going on a run. But I feel it was good to get one under my belt. I'd feel more comfortable the next year. And I think we could put together a good team, especially if you get a different first pick situation.
Yeah, that
no,
kind of
no,
hampered
no
me.
knock on Vito, but like he was
he was not a
fourth
first
best
round
player.
pick.
No.
If anything,
So-
the other guy, Zach, would have been, but I wouldn't have
He
needed to.
would have been a great
because
first round pick.
I am proud of myself for the scouting of it all, where I
Good
just
work.
was like,
It was
this
very
dude is
well
good.
done.
I've never seen him actually play, but I just have a feeling.
And I think what I would probably do next year is I would do some scouting as well. Knowing, like, I didn't realize that you wouldn't. I thought you would like know exactly who you were picking the whole time.
No.
Had I known, I would have been like during warmups, like on the prowl looking for people. And then before you went to pick, I would have been like, this dude was good, that guy was good, this dude was good.
Yeah.
And give you the inside scoop. So I'll bring that to the table next year as well. Yeah. But that was it. We played and had a good time and walked away with some victories, even though our team didn't win. You won the 3-point contest, and I won life goal of talk to a Nick at a charity basketball
That's not
tournament.
bad.
Not bad. And that actually happened. Now, to conclude this episode of Force, we actually have a very special guest segment from the fine folks at Tipping Pitches. You've heard Bobby and Alex on this podcast. We've been on their show before. We've done Patreon back and forth swaps and all. And now we're doing an episode home and home sort of segment swap. So we had a portion of a horse episode on a Tipping Pitches episode. And now they are having a portion of a Tipping Pitches episode on horse. So to close this out, we're going to present part of their Sipping Pitches episode where they tried out liquors from different, I believe, all retired MLB players, and they rated and reviewed them. A lot of players are getting into the liquor game apparently, and here's the segment. And if you want to listen to the full episode, we'll have a link to it in our episode description. But we'll do that, then we'll have the credits, and that'll be this episode.
Okay, so I'm gonna say which alcohol we're tasting. I'm not gonna give the whole list away. I'm gonna go one by one. The first one we've already talked about. It's the Mike Piazza True Vodka. We figured there's not a better way to start this off.
Now, I do have a question. Are we rich enough to be drinking this?
Well, you're the reporter here. Please, for people who did
Yeah.
not listen to our last conversation with you,
Yeah, good
what
call.
like give a little bit of background context for what this even is.
Yeah. So this is vodka, a Russian liquor, typically made from potatoes. Anyway, Mike Piazza, famous New York Met Italian, got in the vodka game post-retirement, and he held a little event for this a couple of years ago before a game at Citi Field, which I was covering as a reporter for the New York Daily News. And Mike Piazza, one of the worst pitchmen I've ever encountered. I don't know why they didn't hire a professional. I guess Mike Piazza is the face of it, so they wanted the famous guy to talk. But
He's not the brains of the operation.
he is not the brains. No, he explained it horribly. He was really encouraging all of the gathered journalists to try it, despite the fact that we were at work.
Mhm.
Did you?
I did not partake. No.
Did he?
Integrity.
He definitely did. Oh yeah, for sure. He had to do the like sip and go like, delicioso. He loves being Italian, so he talked in Italian, unprompted, a lot.
Now, in your judgment, did it sound like he was good at speaking Italian? I know
Honestly,
you don't
yes.
speak Italian.
I am famously not Italian, but I did think his Italian sounded pretty good for a man from Pennsylvania.
Respect. He did own an Italian soccer team, so I
Which
would hope
I
that...
am going to talk about when we get into
Great, amazing.
when we get into our Mike Piazza takes section. But yeah, he gave us a marketing packet for the vodka, and it had like a median income that they were hoping their consumers would fall into. Do you have that in front of you, Alex?
I do, yeah. Their target demographic.
Are you reading from the New York Daily News right now?
I am.
Please cite your sources on this
Yeah.
episode.
I'm sorry.
The source is
Yes.
literally me.
The target demo, according to Matthew, is people aged 30 to 50 with a household
I'm
income.
in there now.
Right. Just under the wire, ranging from $125,000 to $350,000.
I do not make that.
Oh, also living in, this is my favorite part, living in aspirational urban venues and neighborhoods.
I think, okay, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I think our lives are very aspirational.
They are, yes.
Brooklyn, New York, ever heard of it? Podcast capital of the world.
It's not Times Square anymore. We've taken it back. It's back to Brooklyn.
To the aspiral.
I walked here, so everyone listening to this in a car, that sucks.
Get their asses.
Okay, another piece of the game that we're doing here is that I've asked you all and I to prepare takes or questions to be conversational fodder as we taste these alcohols. We will also give our opinions about the alcohols, but and I don't know about you guys, I'm not formally trained in talking about what I'm tasting, so like 2 straight hours of that probably wouldn't be that interesting. So we're going to share some baseball takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
play to our strengths.
Some non-baseball takes as well. Hopefully enough baseball takes to get us through the public feed episode, and our non-baseball takes hopefully are backloaded to the
I'm
Patreon.
equally prepared for both. As a man who lives a life outside of sports as well, I'm locked and loaded.
I only have baseball takes for what it's worth. I'm just going to keep it going.
Okay, great. Did Gentlemen's Quarterly approve your appearance here? Did you have to go through their media approval process for
They
this?
have no idea I'm here. But this is allowed for sure. If I say something disparaging, let me know.
Okay.
Right. Would you say you're representing your employer here in this
Yes.
appearance?
Likes and retweets are endorsements here
Yes.
on the
If this-
Tipping Pitches podcast.
If this prevents me from becoming head of Vogue, I'm going to be so mad at you.
Historically, you can get away with a lot at that position, from what I
Ayo.
understand.
All right.
Okay, are we ready?
I think we should do it.
P vodka time.
P vodka time.
Spoiler: I already opened the bottle to make us the espresso martinis that are coming next.
Yeah. Spoiler.
Some descriptions about the bottle. It looks like it's trying to be Grey Goose.
Yeah, it's giving luxury. I will give them that. Have you see this crest up here? Break this
Yeah.
down for the listeners.
It's a crest. It's silver on a blue background.
Are those horses?
It has the words "Little Water" in there.
Mm.
Oh.
Okay. It says imported by True Vodka Inc., New York, New York.
Hell yeah.
In vodka we trust.
It says that?
I'm always saying that.
It does say in vodka we trust.
Wow.
That's exactly
fucked.
right.
I don't trust vodka, actually.
The
I'm
bottle-
pretty anti-vodka.
The bottle has some sort of kind of lattice design to it. It says "True" in big
Lattice.
letters.
Good hand
Whoa.
feel.
And it has a nice little weight to it. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
It says "True Premium Vodka, clean and smooth, imported from Italy." Are you guys ready? I'm gonna pour
Pour it
some.
up.
I'm so hyped.
So,
There's
Alex,
gonna be a lot of like ASMR sounds on this
Mhm.
podcast. So for the sickos who've been asking for ASMR for years,
Yeah.
here it is.
Probably some gagging.
that was a nice sound. I'm sorry I talked over it because I was
okay.
going to ask Alex about his high school experience with vodka, which we were discussing
Oh, okay.
pre-recording.
Yeah.
Who are your guys?
Like my go-tos, like on the shelf.
Yeah. Or the guys who bought you alcohol when you were a teenager.
You did. You mean you grew up in an aspirational urban environment where
That's-
someone might have given you
That's
some.
true.
If True Vodka had hit the high school scene, it would have been game over
would
for
have
all of
been
us.
so-
Imagine
over.
True Vodka in fucking Oakland, California, in 2012. Maybe
Bro,
it would have
yeah.
moved markets.
This and
No.
some Far East movement.
It's E40.
So, what were your bottles? What were you
It was a lot of, I think,
Thank you.
it was Smirnoff is what it was.
Okay.
Almost exclusively Smirnoff.
Yeah.
okay, bougie.
Is that bougie?
We were
I
at
don't-
Smirnoff High School as well. Burnett's. I don't know if that made its way down the coast.
I don't. Is that a brand?
That's the brand. Yeah, their green apple was especially popular at our
I had
school.
green apple Smirnoff as well in
Yeah.
high school.
I love like when it was like, oh, does anyone want to try some like cotton candy vodka? And
Oh,
I
I was in on those.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
let's
you
do it.
and yep,
Sky
same.
is the one that does all of the
Sky
crazy
had
flavors.
that.
Yeah,
Pinnacle
yeah.
had the
Pinnacle
whipped cream
with the
flavor.
blue bottle.
Yeah. That shit was pretty good.
It's like good until it's not, and then it's never good again.
Or
Right.
I think the subtext here is good if you're 15 years old.
Exactly, and it's the first thing you've ever drank.
All right, boys.
We have some vodka sitting in front of us.
Let's cheers.
Yep.
Alex does this thing where before we actually sip this, I have to say this because he's going to do it every time we cheers this
Oh,
whole
call him out.
podcast. Alex does this thing where when he cheers, he does the like Leo DiCaprio
Oh, I think that's lovely.
Gatsby face.
Right, it's a little like may the odds be ever in your favor, you know?
Hell yeah, dude.
That's a different movie.
Oh, yeah. I knew that too.
All right, let's sip. Let's sip
Molto
it.
bene.
That's it. I shouldn't have smelled it.
Okay. I mean, I haven't sipped straight vodka in a very long time, but I didn't hate that.
Would it have been a wiser move for me to have put that in the freezer? Is a question I'm sort of asking myself right now in this exact moment.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a little struggle from Alex.
It was a
over
little
there.
bit of struggle for me. Yeah.
And why is that? What you said, you talked a big game about how you were going to say the notes and things of that nature.
I think I forgot that I was going to be drinking like hand sanitizer. I don't know what the notes are to. So what do you guys think? Does this make you feel upwardly mobile? Does it make you feel aspirational?
Podcasting at my kitchen table feels like I've already hit my upward mobility.
Right.
So,
You've hit the limit.
I feel like I could do
Now
a
it's
lot of
burning.
things on
Yeah.
the power of true vodka. I'm getting the burn. I
You
feel
feel warm.
I feel warm. I feel like if I drink a lot of this, I could have a night that I've never had before. So that's aspirational. And like truly anything could happen off the true
Right.
vodka.
I feel like I can get into One Oak now, honestly.
I have a question. Why do they name it true vodka? Like there's no thing to it. It's like the most basic name. There's no like piazza element. There's no baseball element. There's no Italian element.
wasn't there a missed opportunity for it to be TRU? Don't you think that would have been more marketable?
Wasn't that like 2 Chainz' corner?
Oh, I don't know.
I was a big 2 Chainz guy while I was drinking Smirnoff in high school.
That's about right.
This is
Those
like
things go really well together.
I will say this is better than most vodkas I've had in my life.
Yeah. The other question is, how is this not like landed in any store or bar that we've ever been
Okay,
to?
so can you give a little bit of background about True Vodka then? So you're supposed to be looking up the abouts of all of these alcohols and sharing some of them.
Yes.
But importantly, basically after your piece in the New York Daily News, this vodka disappeared from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it ever was sold in any major retailer.
No, your article is the most comprehensive overview.
That means
of
the
True vodka.
other writers there were not doing their job. Tacoma was there. He did not want to put out a hit piece on a fellow Italian. I went for it.
By the way, I'm opening the bottle of wine that we're having later so I can let it breathe a little because I'm concerned about what's going to taste like if we don't let it breathe.
Yeah.
But we're not going to taste it
Are
next.
you actually?
I'm just opening it right now.
It's important to let things breathe.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to taste this if it hasn't had at least 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
actually, I'm
Snob
concerned
over
about
here.
that. I'm concerned. Okay, so give us some facts about True Vodka.
Well, like I said, the facts we're a little thin on facts. I think I'm being led to believe that it was what launched in was he launching
I
it?
believe I was at the launch.
You were at the
yes.
launch, yeah. So that was 2022.
Was there a red carpet involved in this?
No, but it was hilariously in the Piazza Club. So he was like surrounded by iconography of himself.
Man, dudes rock.
It launched on an erstwhile like alcohol app or something,
that's right.
It was like an
Yeah.
exclusive partnership. That app, that marketplace, no longer is in existence.
Priced out by
Tough.
the marketplace.
And so
of
when we
ideas.
were first doing research on this, we were kind of bummed. We were like, "Is this idea dead in the water?" Because
Yeah,
if
we
we
would,
can't
like-
get the true vodka,
It's- yeah,
what's the
Yeah,
point
this
of
all
doing
hinges
it?
on the true vodka.
does.
Yeah.
As many nights going forth will, I hope.
I would hope
Exactly.
so.
Mhm.
I mean, if I get a raise, maybe.
So, okay, wait. But so, yeah, we tried to find it online and
Right.
we would go to the website and it would be like, this website does not have a private connection. And
Correct.
But we couldn't get to it.
Right, exactly.
That's so funny.
I know.
That's awesome.
And we were like, I started buying the other alcohols that we're about to taste, but we still hadn't found the true vodka. So, we were pot committed to this idea for a podcast episode.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, Alexander Baisley,
Government name.
Wow.
he tracked it down.
Yeah.
It was government behavior, tracking something down in the wild that doesn't exist online.
That is impressive, honestly. Like, you did journalism.
That's right. Exactly. I was following the lead. Well, and here's the thing. So I went to, I think, Bottle Rocket, like wine and spirits.
I
Up
went
by
there too, looking for another thing. That
Did
we
you
didn't
really?
get. Yeah.
That always was the first hit whenever I searched for any of these. Was
Yeah.
Go to Bottle Rocket. Did not have it, but the guy said, "Let me do one for you." And
You thought you were like a paisan looking for a fellow Italian.
right.
Yeah, was this guy Italian?
No,
Okay.
he looked just like me.
Okay.
Okay.
He got on his little
6'8".
Uh-huh.
Stunning. Watch for it happens.
Fabio hair.
Right. No, he tracked it down for me. He said he wrote it down on a little piece of paper, slipped it to me across the. Did you just finish that drop in there?
Yeah. It's just not good. Sorry. He tracked it
That's
down,
the review right there.
wrote it on a piece of paper.
Right. Yeah. Bowery and Vine.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out. There's going to be a lot of free advertising on this
A ton of
podcast.
free advertising. Yeah. But you'll still have to go do the work to find each one of these.
Okay. Anything else about True Vodka? I feel like we've talked a lot about it. Does someone want to share a take now while I prepare the next
Well,
drink?
I have a conversation starter
Okay.
regarding Mike
Great.
Piazza.
Yeah.
Would
don't
you
even have to
fellas
prompt you. You're
like
just a
to
content
guess?
artist.
Yeah, come on. I have truly so many notes. Would you guys like to guess Mike Piazza's career batting average?
3. Does it start with a 3?
I will not disclose.
Okay. 309.
Alex?
I'm going to go. I'm going to go 291.
Okay. Real sicko shit from Bobby. It's 308.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. This just charted a beautiful path for the rest of this podcast.
You want another shot?
I'm feeling good. Feel like I should have more True Vodka. It's flowing through me.
You are about to.
The spirit of Mike Piazza is in you.
That's
one
true.
ounce of Piazza is in you right now. But I was shocked by that, to see he was a 300 career hitter.
That is impressive.
Different era, of course.
1 ounce of Piazza is in you right now. That got me. I'm sorry. I forgot that the next thing that we're going to have is an espresso martini made with True Vodka.
Of course.
And Ian Happ's coffee collab.
Shout out Ian Happ.
Alex, tell us about Ian Happ's coffee collab while we cheers here.
This was
Cheers,
the one.
boys.
This was the one that I forgot to pull up.
Okay, here we go. Vamp
Had
time.
one job.
Alex got like the fattest espresso martini.
I have a vamp for you.
Okay.
Growing up as a Mets guy,
Uh-huh.
did you feel especially drawn to Piazza as an Italian guy from Pennsylvania?
I did actually. Yeah. I had like full like a Piazza jersey and warm-up pants kind of situation. They had like
Because
his
he was Italian? Like if his name was Mike Johnson, would you have felt the same way?
I think I still would have felt the same way, to be honest. He was like the best player on my favorite team growing up. Like it's basically the same as like Ken Griffey or Edgar for you. I mean, he's
That's right.
obviously not as cool as either of those guys, but he occupies the same space.
Wore my Edgar jersey to
Or
work
Ichiro.
yesterday.
So
Wow.
many fucking cool Mariners over the years.
Seriously.
We have a surplus of incredibly cool guys and nothing
Right.
to show
Yeah.
for
And then
it.
what happened?
You have the all-time wins record, right?
In a single season,
That's
yes.
what I meant.
Yes.
All-time for a year.
Which actually leads me to my second thing. That season, famously derailed by 9/11. In the 2021 season, I was at Citi Field.
9/11 came up in the first 25 minutes of the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
As
Someone's
it
under
always
just
should.
cashed.
2021 season, I was there at Citi Field for the 20th anniversary of
Mhm.
9/11 Mets-Yankees game. And Mike Piazza was there talking about his famous home run.
Yeah.
And I dug into my old archive, read my own articles for this again. Mike Piazza gave an insane quote about how to, create peace in the world. He said, "Conversion has to come through the heart, not the sword." Bars from
Wow.
Mike Piazza.
Is Mike Piazza anti-war era?
I guess. I don't know. I famously took this out of context for my notes app notes here.
Right.
I didn't, link to a full article because I'm doing this all on my phone. But he did say that on the record.
What is the conversion that he's referring to? Is it like converting
To Islam.
minds?
I see. Yeah, I think that's where it gets a little murky. Like he wants to unconvert
Right.
radical Islams
Right.
to Roman Catholicism.
Yeah.
perhaps?
He's like, we shouldn't
Can't
be
speak to that.
doing wars over there. We should be doing missionary trips.
That's right.
I don't feel comfortable with where this conversation is heading, frankly.
I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was fascinating.
We can't slander the first guy whose alcohol we drank. Like, if we get sued for slandering Mike Piazza of all people,
Everyone knows that this is parody.
yes.
We're parodying Mike Piazza's business career. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Horror Sources, hosted by MamaWAWA and Mike Schubert. Our editor is Kensei Saramaki. The music is by Bettina Kapamanas. The art is by Allison Wakeman. The website is by Kelly Schubert, and the social media is by both of the Horse Boys.
Thank you to our producer level patrons, Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed, Steph Curry's daughter Riley for 3. Bang. That's such a cute little bang. Chase Underulo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby as a vampire, Chelsea's cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, Mats Furley, and Utah Jash. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Horse Hoops and on Twitter at Horse_Hoops because
Horse Hoops worked at Aspiration.
you know what? I actually heard that Horse Hoops called a controversial foul at 7-7.
Oh, that's good.
And a game
That's
of
good.
pickup.
That's, yeah, I like that.
you just
I
don't
like
do
that
that.
a lot. I like that. Yeah.
I'll call that.
I
fuck
hate,
you
I'm
will.
so upset. So upsetting.
Very upsetting. But you can go to horsehoops.com for links to all the stuff we talked about today, including the latest from Pablo Torre on the spiciness in La La Land.
Yes. And if you want to support the Horse Boys, you can do so on Patreon, patreon.com/horsehoops, get access to a bunch of cool stuff. And you can also go to horsehoops.com/merch, where you can get access to a bunch of cool stuff like Sup Nerds' basketball shirts and digital items. But we're going to close this episode out by doing the usual, saying something on the count of 3. What are we feeling?
Well, I guess this is the first episode that we have recorded since your beloved Sue Bird was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So I think just any bird noises of your choosing on 3
All right,
in honor of
sounds
Sue.
good. 1, 2, 3. I went for a pigeon coo. my
I
favorite bird.
always go crow, and I don't know what that says about me.
Oh, fun.